website. So yeah.
All righty. Let's see here. Send anyway. Send it now. All righty. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Oh, I gotta do one more thing. Hold on. Da-da-da.
You're new at this?
Say what?
I say you're new at this? What's going on,
Yeah,
man?
I know.
I'm sorry. I had to
No,
give you
you're good,
crap.
brother. You're good. Forgot one thing. All right, sweet. Good morning, everybody. Say hey. Would love to hear you. This is the only live for the week. The Torque Boys, me and Jason, we are headed down to Dallas tomorrow to go hang out with Danny Thompson, the Commit Your Code guys and gals. Gonna be a great conversation. Gonna be a great time. We have a booth. We're going to be pioneering our resume review session. So we'll be doing live resume reviews. We're going to have like a projector and a screen, and we're doing live resume reviews at the booth. Always trying to find ways to give back to people. Jerome and I are obviously chatting about resume reviews backstage. So excited to do that live down in Dallas. If you are watching this and are in Dallas area, we are throwing a Torque community private event, invite only. If you have not gotten the invite yet and you are in Dallas, please shoot me a DM so we can get you on the list. It's going to be a great time. Going to drop some new swag at the event. It's going to be a grand little time. The vibes are going to be immaculate as always. But excited for this episode. Jerome, this is the only second time on the show, right? Second time or third time? Second or third?
For Torque?
No,
or
just for me.
with you?
Guidance Counselor 2.0.
Oh, this is three.
This is three. This is three.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
three-peat,
I love
man.
it. I love it. So honestly, Jerome is one of the reasons why I wanted to pull this thing to an hour. Because every time Jerome and I got together, it easily went an hour because Jerome's got a lot of good thoughts. And so Jerome was one of the catalysts for over the last few years. I was like, man, I want to go deeper. I want to have better conversations, more meaningful conversations. And so now we're at an hour. And one of the reasons why is for Jerome. So thanks, Jerome, for that. I see some people tuning in. Welcome. Good morning. Please say, hey, would love to hear from you. It's like I tell people, and Jerome's obviously a big fan of this. Like, this is a networking event. This is essentially a virtual meetup. The people in the comments are the people attending, so you can message back and forth with them. Like I tell everybody, connect with every guest too. Jerome is a wealth of information. You will see that here over the next hour. He's going to come with a lot of data. Jerome is a data guy. I'm a vibes guy. Jerome's a data guy. We work real well together. And so he's going to have a lot of good information. So please go connect with him, send him a note. And then as always, want to get through kind of some housekeeping things. Torque.community, check them out. Check us out. We just dropped to check them out. I'm speaking in third person this morning. Torque.community, we just dropped a brand new site redesign. It's pretty. It's nice. Go check it out. All of our events are on it. Also, listen, if you want to be kept up to date when I go live with amazing guests like Jerome, shoot me a text. This is actually my number. It's not some AI bot. It's actually me. So I just sent out a text to a few folks that were live. So we'd love to have you. And again, the dev Alex, Chris, Sally, Jeff, LinkedIn user. Jerome is a legend. Tehran, it's good to see you. Elliot, Cameron, it's good to see you as well. Again, y'all keep commenting. All right, Jerome, let's give the people what they want, man. Just a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? For the people who don't know who Jerome is, which is very rare because Jerome's somewhat of a celebrity. So
I am not a celebrity. I try to avoid celebrity. I'm at home minding my business. So software engineer by trade. I started coding around 2010, 2011, right after the military. I work with a lot of vets and military spouses, vets who code. I've done every stack imaginable. I've worked in WordPress. I've worked in Rails. I've worked in like a little bit of .NET, PHP. Past 5 years, I've been in data engineering and AI engineering. So what that means is I've understand from end to end the whole scope of building AI products, like going from gathering data to sanitizing the data, building your ETL pipeline. And then after you have the ETL completed, you got a knowledge base. Then you turn that knowledge base into an inference pipeline or a RAG application, like chatbot, whatever you want to call it. I've gone end to end on that a few times. So I've worked with I've worked at Microsoft for almost 5 years, worked with the Democratic Party for some of this year, working with got a super cool opportunity that Taylor and I was talking about, like this G14 classified, can't even talk about it. I'm just happy to not be in politics anymore. And now I'm in I'm in finance, kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of in like I'm in AI. So like,
Yeah.
I guess that's the best way to say it. I'm
Yeah.
in AI engineering and in data engineering. So and like I said, when I'm not doing that, I am at Bet2 Code and I'm building a lot of things. Actually, I'm doing some things behind the scenes with our platform, adding some AI toolings, adding 2 new verticals to our education, and ready to debut some cool stuff on Veterans Day. So be out there for that. And speaker, and I'm a dad, and I am always tired. So, but other
There you
than
go.
that, that's me.
Speaker and dad, I'm always tired. That could yeah, that is no truer statement. That may be the truest statement you will say on this show today. All right. So Jerome, I mean, so again, so to let y'all know, like I do a lot of listening. I have a lot of people on texting basis. Jerome is one of them. And you know, Jerome over the last few weeks has been sending me just tons of data. You know, one thing I admire about Jerome is he's very analytical. To be honest with you, he speaks truth. He is very frank with me. Throughout my career, he's definitely called some things out that he's liked about some things I've been a part of, and some things he doesn't like that I've been a part of. And I really, really appreciate that candor. And so literally, like, I'm reading through our text messages right now. We can get into those, man. But I mean, I mean, I don't even know where to start. So where do you want to start with this latest job search, man? I mean, do we want to talk about Dice? Do we want to talk about that first before people get bored and tune out?
I guess, well, we can, but one, I'm only frank with you because I like you. Like, a lot of people I don't like, oh sure, yeah, that's a great idea. If you like it, I love it. Like, that's the Southern lie, right? Like, right there, if you like it, I love it. You're like, oh no, you're gonna be you're definitely getting lied to right there. Like, but no, that's not me. Like, I keep it 100 with you because like I like you.
I appreciate
So
that, brother.
if you want me to, I will start lying to you. That makes our relationship
No. Don't. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm pulling up your Substack article. I mean, I don't know if you want to start here and kind of just walk through it
Yeah, we can
together,
do
but
that.
okay.
We could do that, or I have another. May I share my screen?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead. It's the plus button down there with the screen. Do you see it?
Affirmed. I got the,
And again, for those of
got
you tuning in,
it.
welcome. Good morning. If you are having connection issues, it's okay. We will have this. Will be streamed to other platforms. So
Yeah. So I made this for the purpose of this talk. So Substack says, it's a 60-day job hunt. It was 60 days. I went from 0 to 4 offers within 60 days. How
okay.
did I do that? Right. So I'm talking about one of the reasons why I created this, why I even, did the Substack and this is because I was getting frustrated with all the generic advice that was out there being given to people.
Yeah.
It was very irritating for me because I'm like, that's not what you should be telling people.
Sure.
I need people to, like, we had to look at, because like you said, I've always been a strategy person. I was in the military. You can't go off of the vibes. Because going off, doing intel based on the vibes, bad things happen. And I was seeing a lot of bad things happening in this current market. So first, I think the first thing we have to understand is I was hoping to get this information out because we were at what, the first month of, so you have this month and maybe what, beginning of November before the September surge, as they call it, is done. Because once, like, Thanksgiving happens, people aren't really hiring at the same strength until January pops back up, right? So that's one of the reasons why I was like, yo, we got to talk about this because I want to get this on people's radars so people can think of it think of it sooner. So there's 60 days, data-driven approach, final outcomes, 4 competitive job offers on the end of 60 days, 50% pay increase, and created 3 distinct specialized resumes. Now I want to talk about so at first, I had one super resume. I put everything for the past 10 years on this resume. I chose 10 years because one, in finance, they usually don't go any further back than 10 years on the average. Those are the strictest resume those are the strictest ones that I've learned in the past. Those are the strictest background checks. So they go 10 years in the past. So that's why I chose 10 years. Also with my ATS research, I found that, oh, you know what? 10 years is the sweet spot. Once you start going past 10 years of information on your resume or in your websites and all this other stuff, you tend to, we start seeing ageism pop up once you get past 10 years. Like,
Okay.
it's wrong, but it's a reality. People
Sure.
start wondering, oh, can you do this if you're, been doing this for 15, 20 years? So that is one thing that I was like, same thing for ageism and regards to lack of experience. It seems like 5 years and 10 years seems to be what works. If you
I
put
agree.
less than 5
I
years
agree.
on, people are like, oh, you don't have enough experience. If you put more than 10 years, you're a risk, right? And so like that is what so
the main thing to get out right now, keep your resume. If you're more than 10 years in the industry, keep it 10 years.
Yes, keep it 10.
Okay.
Or maybe add some of the freelance projects or something you did if you're less than 5, right? So that's one thing. Second thing that I definitely learned is that ATSs, they are trash. So if you had, because of my background with ISE, like literally I have this jump of 3, 4, 5 years to just straight front end work. Then I got a bunch of data engineering and AI work and product engineering work because of Microsoft, and then it wasn't it didn't provide enough context for artificial intelligence, and so ATS systems that use artificial I said ATS systems when the SS systems, I'm an idiot. So ATSs that use AI could not really understand my resume.
Okay.
So what I had to do is I took my resume and created 3 separate verticals, one for front end, one for data engineering, and one for AI engineering. And I actually, this made me like Python even more because there was so much of the work in Python and Azure that I had learned and picked up. So it's transferable between data engineering and AI engineering, right? It was super it was super cool, super clean to be able to see that in the outcome. Now, let's go ahead and talk about that's why I created it. Here's mine, as you see, outcomes, target resumes.
And real quick, Tehran, I'll drop the article in the show notes after. I can't do it live, so I will drop it after we go live.
Yeah. All right. I did. So as I just spoke about my 3-prong approach.
Okay.
As you see, here's the skills that I did without here.
So you broke out your resume into these 3 main areas.
Affirmed.
Okay.
Yes, these are 3 areas. And I was able, so the conversion rate for like JavaScript was actually conversion rate was high, quality was the focus. It wasn't as deep as I wanted. Like the conversion of, like, when I say conversion, for context, like from application to getting the interview to going through the phases. Like whenever I applied for a front end job after I stopped everything at 10 years, and also try to keep it at like a high level IC section, because they're trying to flatten org. So if you go past,
so then how'd you write your resume? You brought up a good point. I'm interrupt you here. Organizations are trying to flatten. Companies are trying to flatten organizations. Not as much hierarchy. You're very senior in your career. Are all 3 of these resumes geared more towards the IC level? And did you do that on purpose?
I did that on purpose because I did manage people in my last role, but I intentionally was like, I want to be a person of mentor, but I have mentorship experience, but I want to be an IC because, like I said, they're flattening that role. They want people with more hands on keyboard and less middle management. So I was like, okay, we see that tactic. You see that in the job market currently. Like, the people that are now getting impacted the most in big tech are middle managers, engineering managers, engineering manager 2, to the point where I'm seeing And like there's software engineer 4, senior software engineer 2, things of that nature popping up because people rather have a higher level of IC than than engineering managers now, right?
Yep.
So but as you see, like I said, JavaScript, it was high conversion in regards to quality. 3 deep interviews I went, but they also had the most interview rounds. Like front end, I don't know why. Like front end is the easiest one to sell, so I don't understand why it has the most interview rounds. It's insane. There was a coding. Everyone had a coding challenge, which I want to iterate to people. Used to be, you did not have to do like you didn't have to just there were alternatives for a coding challenge. Now, not so much. The coding challenge comes early in the resume. It's always something leak code, usually leak code middle is what I saw. A lot of us saw a lot of leak code middles. So whether you're doing JavaScript, Python,
what is leak code middle? I've never heard that. What is that?
All right, so when I say leak code middle, I'm thinking in the concept of like how we like. So there's easy, middle, hard, extra hard, right?
Okay.
So the leak code problems were usually in the mid tier,
Okay.
but they were verbatim in the mid tier for everybody I did a code challenge for. It was verbatim leak code mid tier. Like if you saw and pretty much it was just. Now, here's a good part I did like. It was just enough to know that you actually knew how to code. I actually got the same stacks and queues question twice in 2 separate interviews. I was like, oh, so y'all are just picking the first leak code middle code challenge y'all see and just throwing it on here. All right, whatever. So that was nice. That's something that you have to think of. Like I recommend starting in my article. I recommend if you don't have a lot of experience with leak code and things like that, start at Code Wars. Code Wars is way more friendly. It helps prepare you for like tougher coding challenges and while solidifying how to think like that. But their easy is like actually easy versus like leak code's easy is like, oh, sophomore year at like a computer science coding program, right? So that's what I did. I did that. I ran through 3 different books, starting with Daily Coding Problem and then Crushing and Coding Interview. I did a very systemic approach that's in my Substack of how I study explicitly for coding challenges, because I was like, that's a problem that I haven't been focusing on, haven't had to focus on, so let me do that. But when it came to Python engineer, the demand like right now that I saw in the market,
it's hot.
Python and SQL it's very high. Like it's very high. Right now. Yeah. So like the response times were fast. The interviews were much flatter. Like for the average JavaScript interview was 4 to 5 rounds. The average Python interview was 3 rounds if I was lucky.
Why do you think that is? I'm curious. Why do you think that is?
Because because I have applied experience in Python, so I'm able to talk about that. But 2, because it's a talent war on in that stack and in those areas
of, get to right there.
Of data engineering. And that's one thing people like. Everybody's talking about AI, but what's really hot right now is data engineering and product engineering combined, because most data scientists and data engineers, they don't build customer facing products. They build internal products. They don't think about how to solve for when a bunch of people are using the same app at the same time. Software engineers, they do, right? So converting your experience as a software engineer into understanding data engineering and AI engineering, how to go from that whole building a knowledge base and doing inference pipelines and cleaning, making sure you have the guardrails and doing prompt caching, things of that. All that stuff, like once you start learning how to do that stuff when it comes to product engineering, like, using a Next.js application, for instance, it makes you more valuable because data scientists don't push code to prod.
Right.
Same with data engineers. So
what about this question here? Do you think that companies pushing for developers to utilize AI more and more, that's still using leak code in the interviews, will continue to be the thing, or do you think you see it advancing to something different?
Based upon what I experienced, I don't I can't say that that's going to be conclusive as of right now because of the way, like, I was explicitly asked about what coding tools that I use in my day-to-day, what AI coding tools. They want people who use AI coding tools, but the code challenge is to see if you actually understand how to code, how you
Mm-hmm.
think. Like, they just
Mm-hmm.
want to see if you can actually solve a problem. And I think that's
Yeah.
why Elite Code Middle, why it was such a low barrier of entry, right? Like, just please,
Because
if
they
you
still
could,
want to just see that you can do the thing.
yeah, can you do the thing? It doesn't even have to be 100% like
Sure.
clean and pristine. You can, force it and then you can refactor after, but we just want to make sure you can do it.
All right.
Right. So that is what it is. So here's the response time. Like, first 1 or 2 weeks, as you see, it was very little response times. But by the
Sure.
time week 5 and 6 rolled around, I was going through applications. Like, I was getting targeted applications asking to apply, and by week 7, I was deep in. By week 7, 8, I was deep in interviews, like to the point I
Yeah.
was turning down interviews.
Yeah.
Now, this is only just
Okay,
60
hold on, hold
days.
on, hold on. But what do you make of this? Right? Like, so if I'm a job seeker looking at this, what I would infer based off this data is, man, like, you really don't get things rolling until like a month into it.
I think for me, because I was doing research from, if you already know what's going on, it's going to your pipeline's going to be smaller, shorter than mine. So if you have the exact same follow the exact same rules and philosophies as me, and then you start jumping into this, your pipeline's going to be it's going to be tighter, right? Your conversions is going to be much tighter, but mine's wasn't, because I was actually I was figuring out, I was solving the problem as I like I said, I approached it as a problem. So I was looking at the problem, solving the problem, and trying to optimize it, right?
Yeah.
Like you do code. This is, for me, this is much more fun than actually doing code. But once I got there, like, once I figured out the resume component and the ATS to recruiter component, that's when I did something that I always tell people to do: reach out to your network. I knew that my highest time of people on my LinkedIn was 7:45 a.m. on Thursday.
There
So
you
it
go.
literally took me, yeah, it's all data, right?
Yeah.
Like, I use LinkedIn as my social, as my signal booster for people that were looking at my resume on Dice, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that way I've made it easier for them to find me. People share it. It raised that LinkedIn engine optimization. On those days that I was not doing my ask, I was focusing on generating value, talking about things that were data engineering focused, AI engineering focused, planning those out, scheduling them a
Yeah.
entire week in advance, trying to explain to people what an inference pipeline was, talking about Presidio for PII, talking about cache prompting, talking about how AI safety is one of
So
those
you
overlooked.
use LinkedIn to signal that you know these things. You pick certain topics to talk about on LinkedIn, which then drove activity to the type of roles that you wanted to get.
Absolutely.
Boom.
That's
That's it.
literally what I did. And
That's
I
it.
try to tell people, like, no, just talk about the things
That's it.
that you're
Just talk about it.
building. Yeah. I don't that is the hardest thing to get people to do. Like, no, talk about it, because then you can start a conversation.
I
And the
literally
people
tweeted
are,
this morning. I said, you can literally become known for anything if you just talk about it enough.
yes, you can. You
Literally
absolutely
anything.
can. Anything.
Yeah.
I started
Scroll.
talking about AI around 2021.
Yeah, and that was
And
in my talk for All Things Open. Like, there are a bunch of people who are just started being loud about AI, and you guys are now known for AI. It's funny how
yeah,
that works.
I was working in
Scroll
AI
down.
at Microsoft.
I want to get to Dice distribution of application results.
Here you go. So here's no response. 20 was 20, so 43% were no response. Initial interviews 32%, final interviews 17%, offers
This is great.
was 9%.
So I want to point this out here for people who and for people who listen to this in audio form via podcast. You're going to be very lost because we've been sharing our screen pretty much the entire time. But Jerome's got a pie chart up right now, and Jerome, as senior as he is, got no responses for almost half of his applications.
Yes. Now, mind you, I'm senior and I have a very
All
unique
the hot skills. I
background.
mean, your back end, Python, the AI,
Not
blah,
only
blah.
that, like, there's not many people that have, oh, I was awarded by a president of the United States on their resume, right?
And you
Like, so,
still didn't
and I
hear back
still,
from almost 50%.
yeah. So think about that. Like,
Yeah.
I've been invited to the White House for my work, for the work that I do currently, like in real time, and still not 50%, like not almost 50% of no responses of all resumes. So that is something that, you're not going crazy, you're not getting like relaxed. Like it's a wild market. It was a wild market out there for everybody. It didn't really start picking up until halfway through the market. I started getting that's where the whole dice thing comes into play.
Yeah. So let's talk about that because I definitely want to get
like
to.
that's not on here, but so we can stop sharing and I
Okay.
can go into that. So boom. So now we're done. Uh
Do you
so
want me to
let's talk.
share the Substack article? Is that will that have it?
I think it has it, but we can just talk about it. Let's go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, it can make it more organic for the people that are just listening while they're driving in car
Yeah.
while they're working. So one of the problems that I was seeing other people report was that LinkedIn Easy Apply just was not working for them. Applying on LinkedIn wasn't working for them. They were getting people that were not, responding or anything. Even to like hilariously enough, I was getting people that just now started responding and letting me know, oh, well, we decided we're not taking. I'm like, oh, I applied to that like in July, dude.
Yeah.
It's like almost October. Like
Yeah.
my toddler is about to be 4, bro. Like,
Yeah.
yo, I got a birthday coming up like
Yeah.
a little bit. Like, what are y'all talking about? But what I just literally went on Dice, signed in, and it's so how their system is very like trigger based. So you sign in, you put your resume up. Yeah. See, which I like. It's trigger based. Sign in, you put your stuff up. Everybody is able to see your stuff, and it starts triggering with all these keywords. And people there are real people, because then they'll have a lot of AI baked into the system. So there are real people looking at keyword search phrases and looking at your resume, or they're searching for resumes, and then they are looking at your resume deeper. And then they go to your LinkedIn, and that's where keeping your LinkedIn active wins, right? Because I treated LinkedIn as just a social media network that wasn't a psychopath land, right? So, because Threads is funny but not smart. Blue Sky is smart but not funny. They don't have a sense of humor
It's all
over
those Venn
there.
diagrams, right? It's all those,
Yeah. Twitter's a hellscape. So
Sure.
LinkedIn is the only place that I could like literally like LinkedIn and YouTube are like the only places.
Yeah.
You can do comments and stuff on YouTube now. That was crazy. Like whole post. Those are only places that you can really go to that didn't have anything like wild going on. So using LinkedIn as a social media network to signal boost, right? Like that's where its value was starting to get for me, was signal boosting my knowledge base, and then being able to go through and see my recommendations and stuff. Also, recommendations, that's not in my data points, but those LinkedIn recommendations
help.
Yes, and not only does LinkedIn recommendation help, you need to get somebody who has directly managed you. At least you need so on 2 separate occasions I was asked for one person who I was the direct report of as a reference. And Josh Holmes, he not only I was a direct report of his at Microsoft. He not only put a great glowing review on my LinkedIn. It's like a Yelp review almost. I was like, oh,
dude, I say that all the time. I was like, listen. What is the first thing you do when you look to go to a new restaurant? You go to Google reviews or Yelp reviews, right? It's the same thing with your LinkedIn. It's not going to make or break you, but it's only going to help you.
Yeah, like literally, I mean, have you ever seen something on Instagram like, oh, this video looked nice, and then like you go click it, and then you send it to your wife, and then she looks at, no, we're not going there. Like, look at these stars. Like, no, this is 3.2 stars, Jerome. It's nothing but grass, walls, and drama. I'm not doing that. I'm not paying $20 to park there. And I was like, okay, new plan. But yeah, so those LinkedIn reviews work. Make sure you get at least one person who is a direct report of yours or a mentor or something like that, someone who you had to answer to in this space as a potential reference. Like that is what really closed the deal with me. Having a person having a person that reported to me, having a person I was a direct report to
Yep.
really helped. Like
Yep.
I had
Yep.
one reference was like, and it worked. Being able to speak strongly. Now this is one thing that like this was the first interview process. Like last time I interviewed, AWS was the hottest thing when it came to cloud. This time everything's been Azure. It's everything.
Dude, that's so funny. I literally just went live with somebody. Who did I go live with? There was just an Azure guy. And literally we talked about that. I was like, I feel like Azure was hot. Azure's always like when I was recruiting at Vaco 5 years ago, like whenever we were like, we need an AWS person, it's like, oh, I'll just go shout it from the rooftops and I'll find 20,000 people. Whenever it was Azure, it was like, I couldn't find anybody. And it's still the case.
Azure's hot because Azure has the most models right now. So what's driving cloud is AI. So whoever has the most trustworthy AI is winning. So that's why Azure, you hear a lot of GCP, you hear a lot of Azure, not so much of AWS when it comes to SageMaker, right?
Yeah.
But the Azure jobs are blowing up. And if you're sleeping on Azure right now I will say Azure, I will not defend Azure and how hard it is to use Azure. Like Azure Azure is an enterprise level skill. I'm not going to lie, but the reward is there for knowing Azure because there's so many jobs out there of people like everybody's on multi-cloud. So knowing AWS and Azure is fine, but they're all explicitly asking for Azure. Every interview I've been in, every role, all offers I got, they were multi-cloud. And they were multi-data. Some was on-prem, some was in cloud. They were all multi-cloud, and they all asked explicitly only about Azure. They didn't even know, like, you'll figure out AWS, but we need someone that knows Azure or has been around Azure enough to like get comfortable with it, right?
Yeah.
So I highly recommend look at Azure if you're looking at any AI roles because you're going to be working with it.
Yeah, let's get a Naz question here. How can a beginner get LinkedIn? How like reviews or references on LinkedIn? Like, what would be your best approach there?
Well, teachers, mentors, instructors, people that you collaborate with on groups, going in DMs and asking people to review your project. So, like, there was a young woman when I was on Twitter. She slid into my DMs and asked me to go do a PR, a co-review of her work.
There you go.
And it was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then people, like I tell people all the time, product focus networking wins because people like when you ask them questions, but people like when you execute on what they tell you. And I was like, yo, somebody come back, I give them feedback and they come back and they did the thing I told them to do.
Yep.
I'm like, yo, you're awesome because you listen. You know how hard it is to get people to listen, especially right now when the market has done kind of it's done a curve. It's a downward, it's a bell curve type thing, right? Where the market is looking closer to 2018, 2019. And people think they feel like the market's bad because we had 3 years where the market was like super hot. But now the market's closer to where it should have been 3 years ago if we hadn't had COVID. Having said that, when I tell people what to do, they still are kind of like, I kind of wish we could just do it the way things used to be. I was like, no, that was an anomaly. Like you're asking for a time that you're asking for, you want the weird time to be the normal time. And that's just
want the weird time to be the normal time.
Yeah. Like that's not how, life works. Right.
Right.
So the whole, like the process that I'm seeing is that people, they don't like, one thing that I saw people speaking about a thing I wrote that seems to have gotten a lot of views. I didn't even know until I looked at it. And when I did a refactor tech meetup, and people were like, no, we're all talking about this, about making artifacts using your GitHub, making your design doc and your GitHub issues, converting that to a ticket and stuff. So that way you have things to show for your interview. And we were like, wait, y'all not doing that? And they're like, that's brilliant. We never thought to do that. I was like, I always do that. Like, in the military, we had a term train how you fight,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I take that in the same way of being in tech. You need to train how you work, right? You're going to have a planning meeting at work. You might as well have a planning meeting for your personal projects
Yeah.
and plan that out. You're going to have to do design docs at work. You might as well do design docs for your projects, personal projects. You're going to have to do tickets. Might as well do tickets, pull them out, do PRs. You get a Copilot do the PR for you, and then you can learn from the AI how to improve your own code by going back and forth with GitHub Copilot, right? Like, these are things that people aren't doing that just going to give you growth, right? And give you an advantage, because you're not, a lot of people just aren't doing it.
100%. So you've said a lot of good information, right? So I want to just distill it down a little bit. So first thing you talked about is, if you are senior in your career, keep it to 10 years of experience. The sweet spot that you saw was like kind of like that 5-year and then that 10-year, but nothing
for ATS,
for ATS, right?
Yeah. 5 to 10 years. Like, as you saw, Workday, they're going through a thing right now. They have a weird case. Because, like, dude was like, I'm getting 100% fail rate. I'm gonna sue. But
and then you broke down, which I've talked about a lot. You had basically 3 different. So you had a master resume.
Yes.
Then actually, you essentially had 3 focused resumes. Let me ask you this question. Did you ever use the master instead of the 3?
Absolutely. I had to get a test, right? So I had to test the data, right? And that's where I was when I was seeing that my master resume, my primary resume, that's unabridged, was, like I said, it was for AI, it was too contextually all over the place, right?
Yes.
Couldn't get a good read. So if the AI couldn't, with context, with proper context and power, understand my resume or say what I was like an expert in, I knew a human wasn't going to be able to do that. So that's when I broke it down into 3 different verticals and focused only on that thing within that vertical, right?
I love that.
I did the test before, like I did a week only using that, seeing how many, like, it's like a 7% comeback. And then after I did that, I started like, okay, let's dwindle this down and focus on this. Let's take this off this resume completely, and going back and forth. Like, I built a whole like resume GPT to do this. I used Harvard data. I used I use my connects. I use all my resumes. I use all my performance reports. I use every article that's ever been written by me, every video ever been done. So I was like, this is how I did it. Like, I created a scoring mechanism. This is how, like, because even with my troops now, when they send me like their portfolio, I score their portfolio. When they send me the resume, I score their resume. I have, like, whenever someone sends me a resume, I score it. And I always ask them, send me your unabridged resume first. If you want me to redo your resume, I need to know everything, and then we can make it and based upon the roles you want. And so that way, and I show them like, this is the process that I'm going through. I'm not eyeballing this. I look at it, I guide, but I also am like, I've been focusing on creating these mechanisms to amplify the stuff that I can do by creating scoring systems. Like, all right, trying to keep the language below, like, at 7th grade reading level, because most Americans read a 7th grade reading level, right? So you got to keep it so it's easy. Like, I try to tell people, like, when you're trying to win, you want to be approachable. So I'm thinking of all this, like, removing words, because I know I speak half military, a third military, a third Southern, and then a third technical. It's very hard to understand what I'm saying half the time. Like, talking to a country Einstein over here sometimes is what my mom says. But like, that is how I like that. That's the process that I've been working on. So yes, one resume.
Stefan comes in here. Systems and process is what I'm getting right now. And like if you go back, I've interviewed a ton of people who've had success in their job search. One of the most consistent themes that I always hear with people who navigate the job search well is they have processes, they have systems. They wake up, they approach the job search like a job, they get after it day in, day out, and they're successful. So yes, 100%, 100%.
Approach how you approach a job search tells me more about how you approach coding than
Dude,
actually seeing you code,
yes, love
because
that.
the job search in itself is a problem you have to solve, not just getting a job, but getting a job that you're going to be happy at, right? Like, you can get a job that pays well that absolutely sucks, but can you get a job that you're happy at? Can you do the right signals
Yes,
in your career that's going to like draw the right people to you?
so
That
good.
is, people literally, I have, people literally beating down my like inbox. Like, I have a job that I know is perfect for you based upon everything you put out,
Yeah,
right? Like that, I know that you would do well over here. I know that you would do well over here. And
yeah.
I got offers at those places they knew that I was going to do well at, right? That
Funny how
is,
that works. It's funny how that
yeah,
works.
because it's a
So,
problem.
so the next thing I want to highlight again that you've said, to slow down because it feels like we had kind of a rush people here this last half, is that you
No
use
problem.
LinkedIn to amplify and talk about the things you know, to signal to people that you are an SME in that area. But then a lot of your actual just job search leads came from Dice. So LinkedIn was like the social conversation, but Dice was the thing that drove it.
Yeah, so I was
Right.
applying leveraging LinkedIn, and
Okay.
I was like, I'm not going to do that anymore.
So you were
When
okay. So you were
Yeah,
applying using
that's where
LinkedIn. Okay.
I was like, no, it's not making any sense. I'm not getting good leads. I'm going to go to Dice. I did not apply to any jobs on Dice. I logged in. Like we said, they're very
Yeah,
trigger
let's unpack that
focused.
real quick. So Dice, you rise to the top of every recruiter, every hiring manager search if you log in every 24 hours.
Yes. So I put my resume on there. I put three resumes on there, and then I just would log in, and then
That's
I
it.
would,
That's all you did.
yeah.
So you didn't
And
even
that
apply to jobs on Dice. You just used
Nope.
it as a way for intake.
Two of the four offers I
Was
were
Dice.
cold were Dice, and
Crazy.
recruiters that reached out to me,
Crazy.
the roles I did not know existed. And yeah,
I love it.
so like that is like I did not know anything about these roles that came to me,
Yeah.
because I leveraged. I knew that Dice did. I was doing my research. I knew that Dice did not have a lot of AI baked into it, and it was still like that, like we just said, that trigger focus of Dice. It
Correct.
worked.
It helps.
Yeah, it's
Which
more
is crazy. It was
human.
hot when I was recruiting 10 years ago. And
Yeah,
so shout out to Dice just as a platform for keeping it,
the
I guess,
old
very pure or true or whatever. I don't know what you want to say there, but
classic, right? Like sometimes the old ways work, right?
yeah,
Like
they just
you
kept it,
know,
kept it.
you know,
And it's also Dice for those of you listening or watching. It's only tech specific. So like one of the problems I saw as a recruiter is when I was recruiting, let's just say quality assurance analyst back in the day. If I typed in quality assurance analyst on Career Builder, I get like construction workers.
yeah,
But if you do quality assurance analyst on Dice, you are going to get QA analyst in tech because you have to be in tech to be on Dice.
yeah. Taryn was like, so what's a good way to talk about your freelance projects? There's a project section in LinkedIn that you can do it. Now, here's my thing. If you're not going to have videos, you're not going to have demos, you're not going to have working things, don't post those projects. Every demo, everything that I showed them, I had something working for.
Yes, I agree.
And GitHub makes it so easy to, if just have simple UIs and things up each repo. Like you can literally use GitHub pages and turn each repo into a separate page, and just add that to a nav on your portfolio, right? And call it a day. So I definitely recommend you doing just that.
Yeah,
On your resume, you can talk about your projects, and then as long as you only talk about the components of your project that is relevant to the resume, I think that's a great idea. I did that on multiple times. There's projects that I worked on at work that I couldn't give names to, that I couldn't give all the details to, but just talking through that process of the technologies of leveraging this from this end all the way to this end, and then how you go to production about the project. I was like, oh, this person knows what they're talking about. I had one, because of that, and we want to get into like the biggest thing I saw in my job, this might be different just for seniors. There was a lot of system design conversation, one, and if you knew about the thing that you're building and you talked well about it, you could end up skipping around. So one offer, I skipped around because it's supposed to be my first interview was supposed to be 30 minutes and it went 92 minutes. And we were just talking about system design, about, Azure and things like that. And they were like, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and.
Yeah, dude, if you can get people talking on interviews, they kind of jump you a few rounds if you do it well.
Go deep on every single one. Ask a lot of answer questions. Ask questions. I know a lot of people do not ask questions. I was asking questions about why people are making certain architectural decisions in their application, and there was a resume where they were kind of defending it turned into a reverse interview. Like they were defending their decision because I was asking, why didn't you do this instead of this? And they were like, well, and they were like, you know what, you're just going to talk to the VP. And then I talked to the VP, and it was like the weirdest conversation ever. And they're like, yeah, we're just going to send you an offer letter. And I was like, we didn't talk about anything technical. Cool. We talked about sports, but whatever. And I let you know that I don't watch most sports ball. I'm a big boxing fan, so whatever.
I love it.
But that's how you do it. What bigger standard for people breaking into tech? A project that checks all the skill boxes, or a project that is done well and being used? I will say this from my personal experience as a person who broke into tech without a CS degree or boot camp experience initially. I built a thing. Like the story of Execode is out there on a million podcasts. I literally was playing hooky from work that day. I was chilling with my lady, about to do nothing. I got a friend calling me, asked me to help a family of a fallen veteran. I did the only thing I knew what to do, which was build a website and then tell the story on social media. Raised $2,000 in 27 hours, and then next thing you know, I was getting jobs. So a thing that people use will always beat.
Yes.
Just having small projects. One thing that works well end to end, because that touches people, because your little piddly projects, your JavaScript calculators, whatever, they don't really touch people until you get a website that people are using, and then you get a call from somebody that people are using. Hey, yo, your images are uploading very slow, so the images are big, so now you got to figure out why the image is doing this and how to make it smaller and things like that. Or your form isn't working, or your form is working on your end but the people don't know that the form is working on that end. Like on Vets and Code, we had that problem, and then we would do a little green message to let people know that it worked, and they still weren't seeing it. So now when you do the form and you submit, I make it rain like military medals when you hit submit, so because it's my website, I can do what I want. Right. So when you submit, now we got emojis that rain down, so that something worked. But that is a product will always outrank a project, but you better be able to talk about it. I see a lot of times people they gonna get templates and things, they cannot speak about the things that are in that template, and they make it really easy to search through that template and see what's going on. It's I'm gonna ask you questions about this, right? So
so we got 12 minutes left. I have some rapid fire, but I do want to ask you kind of two things. One's a little bit of a hot take. Do we think boot camps have ruined?
This is a fun one.
I'm trying to think how to frame this question. Do we think boot camps have ruined front end JavaScript development?
Yes,
because of the amount of people they've put into the market, which has made back end skill set so much more in demand.
Well, I mean, it's just like anything. So remember when you might not have been around when this was when it started, when boot camps first kicked off in 2014. They were all teaching
I was recruiting in 2011, big dog.
Yeah, so there you go, right? So yeah, the market's just saturated. The market used to be saturated with Ruby devs, right? And then the computer science people were like, we don't like the fact that these people can't like do computer
Yeah.
sciencey things
Yeah.
because of Ruby on Rails. So we're not going to hire any more
Okay.
Ruby devs, right? So so like that is what happened. Same thing with the JavaScript department. But how do we solve it, right? Here's the real problem that I see with boot camps. They were not paying attention to the market. So when the market started cooling
That's
off,
it.
they
That's
still
it.
had to make
Yeah, they were still pumping
money.
out.
So they were still
Damn.
pumping out 20, 30 JavaScript engineers for like
Cohort.
every cohort a month. And it was like,
Yeah.
but you can clearly tell that that's not being the thing, and they weren't changing it, right? Like, so we now know that architecture and system design is being valued a lot more than just being able to build a CRUD application. They want to know, the new junior needs to know why they made decisions, right? What you're choosing. Like, okay, you chose Supabase because what? Lovable picked it for you. What about so how would I make Supabase HIPAA compliant? Oh, so you don't know that. So now you're interviewing at a medical place and you have a database attached to your front end project that you just let the AI pick for you and you don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Thank you. We will let you know of our decision later. And then they'll email you, thanks for considering us.
16 months later.
Yeah. You can find out 16 months later you can get a job. That is how, like, that's what we're seeing. I'm seeing not a lot of decisions. We're still treating learning how to code or coding in itself or boot camps like it was in 2017, 2018, 2019. No, the new senior is the new junior is kind of like a senior because things are different now, right?
Yeah.
It's just like how the new front end designer in 2011 wouldn't be able to get a job as a front end designer today, right?
Yeah.
Like that is just something that happens, right? The skills evolve, so does the market, so do what you need to learn, right? So you need to understand the architectural value. You need to understand, all right, you chose Next.js, like, all right, so how will you use your images? Are you going to use Next image or are you going to use a CDN for your images? And why are you going to do that? All right, these are the type of conversations and things you need to think about.
How does somebody learn? I mean, like, again, not a coder over here by any means. So like, this has kind of become a theme, right? And where it's like, people using AI too much, to rely on AI too much. How does somebody learn these things? My suggestion is find a damn mentor. But like, I mean,
I wrote an article said find a mentor, better yet find two. You need to find, I always recommend people have two mentors. It's like Rich Dad Poor Dad. You want a person what can help you for the things you need today that you can learn with, and you want a person who you want to be like 5-10 years from now, right? Or you want things like that. So I believe in, that's what I believe in. I believe in finding two mentors. You need a mentor who the person you want to be when you grow up, and you need a mentor who can, like the second grade teacher helps you learn how to read and write and, make full sentences, but then Michael Jordan on your poster is the person that you aspire to be, right? It's the same concept, right? So like that's how I look at it. But you absolutely, if you don't have a mentor, you need to be talking to people, get feedback. The thing about building in public is you're not just supposed to be showing off a finished product. You're supposed to be putting yourself in a position of vulnerability to get feedback. People are very self-conscious. They do not want to be told that they suck at something. I tell my veterans all the time, being bad at something is the first step of being sort of good at something. Took that from Adventure Time. It works for my kids. It works for them. It is okay to be trash. The problem is when you're trash and you don't want to know you're trash. First minute you admit you're trash, it's only up from there. Like, look, I'm garbage at this. Can you help me step up my game? Of course, let's do this. But you don't let anyone know. No one can help you because you didn't ask for help. So that's what the purpose of building in public does. Here's my GitHub. What will you do? Here's a repo. I'm trying to focus on data engineering. How would you help me? Oh, I don't have any GitHub. I don't have a GitHub project board. Should I do that? Yes, you should do a GitHub project board because guess
Yeah.
what? Now, as a recruiter, when I go to your GitHub and says what I'm working on now, you can see the ticket flow that I have right now. I can press this little public GitHub project board that you have, and I can see your projects in real time and like, oh, what you're working on, what's in done, what's in done, what's in review, what's in
Yeah.
progress, in your backlog. Wait, this person has their own personal backlog of what they're learning and what they're building. That's cool. That's super cool. Like all this stuff is in public. Like, what do you? I know. Now I can ask this person their book. Oh, they have a hobbies lane. How they're taking care of their hobbies on GitHub. Oh, snap! I want to ask them about this. I've learned so
Yeah.
much from them. Right?
Yeah.
People. You have when building in public is about vulnerability. It's not about just signal boosting. I talk about the things I'm learning. I talk about the things that I need to learn. I talk about the things I should focus on. Talk about I like to give flowers. I'm a big, you know me. I'm a big
Yeah.
flower when it comes to LinkedIn because
Yeah.
I just had a former coworker pass while doing a charity bike ride last month. And I'm like, people do not give people enough of their flowers when they're living.
No.
So I'm like,
No.
I make sure that like when Josh Holmes, when he was laid off from Microsoft, I made sure that everybody knew that like this is the best manager that I have had since my days in the military. I literally can draw a line between my top manager, my supervisor in Iraq, and my
Yeah.
supervisor with Josh, and
Yeah.
they're the top two. Those are the people when I lead, I want to lead with empathy. I want to make decisions critically, thinking about things with positive intent, but also focusing on the reality of the situation. I want to be able to tell people like, look, this is we have to focus on the way the world is while also working on how we want things to aspire to be. And it's okay to say no. I want to talk about how you building coalitions with people you might not agree with.
Yep.
But you also build that coalition with that person you might not always agree with because they can handle the people that you definitely never going to agree with, right?
Yeah.
Like I talk to you because I'm like, oh, you talk to people I'm definitely never going to talk to. So it's like, yo, it works, right?
Yep.
That's it. But there was a question that was someone asked me about Vetsu Code.
Well, no, it said this one, finding a mentor was as hard. I mean, here's the deal now. I was like, listen, like I think so many people are willing to help, but you have to drive the relationship.
Nas, where are you at? Like, what country are you in? Slide in my DMs on LinkedIn and we'll see if I can get some time to work with you.
There you go.
There you go. Done. Like, all right. It really isn't that hard. Letting people know that you want a mentor. I can see what I'll do. I'll either see what I can work with you or I can connect with someone if not.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's wrap up here. Rapid fire questions. You ready, Jerome?
Yeah, ready.
All right. What's one tech tool or app you can't live without right now?
Monologue by Every. It does diction. I can talk to it and it just writes everything I do. It's like a scribe. So that's one thing.
Okay. Awesome. Oh, the question earlier was how is the curriculum at Vetsu Code adjusted to the new world?
Well, there are 3 vertical. Well, you know what? I don't want to give out any secrets.
This is a really long answer.
That's a long question. Like, because there are 3.
I will tell you this: as long as Jerome's in charge, they are pivoting. Are pivoting.
I know we already pivoted like 2 years ago. We just haven't debuted the stuff. We've already got a lot of we have some. I don't want to give it away because we have demo day showing up. So we have demo day. We have some platform things. We have some AI things to show off. We have some we've been working with GitHub. We've been working with Google. We've been working with Azure. So literally we've been working Adi Osmani is on our board now. So we've been working very close with Google and Local Kilpatrick also. So doing a lot of Google Gemini work and a lot of data engineering and looking in Python and how to make it practical. And for instance, our code challenge, you just got to be there on November 11th because our code challenge module I'm very proud of the code challenge module.
How do you drive the interactions without pushing someone away? I'm kind of curious what this is in referencing to.
if you give more than you ask, like that's pretty simple. If you keep asking
Yeah.
me something, but I don't see any action, I'm gonna get annoyed with you.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. All right. Back to rapid fire. What's the very first job you ever got paid to do?
Taco Bell.
Nice. I love it. Hell yeah. Let me ask you this: if you could, if you could craft your own on-site, off-site, remote, what type of setup would you have for the office, or are you just like fully remote, never want to go back in ever again?
I am fully remote, never want to go back in again. But if I had to do an offsite, it would not be in America. It would be like a one big room, either in French Polynesia, or we would go to Tokyo.
So destination once a year, all hands is what you're saying,
Yeah,
ideally. Yeah,
destination
yeah.
once a year. We got nothing but tables and chairs. Everybody sees everybody's work. There
I
might be
love it.
some booths if you need to take phone calls, but
I love
I
it.
want like once a year or maybe twice a year. Like, hey y'all, let's all jump on a plane, go to Tokyo. We're gonna go get wagyu for a like third of the price, and
Yeah, yeah,
we're gonna eat our way or eat our way through Kyoto, right? Like
yeah,
Kyoto is
yeah.
like that market in Kyoto is like I'm going back, so like,
Nice,
I go there like every year now,
nice.
and because I gotta go get my seeds, my spices for like when
Yeah, dude.
barbecue season rolls up, man. Like I
I
am
love it.
out.
I
So
love it. I love it.
so
Um, uh,
yeah,
next, so what did you want to be when you originally grew? Like when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
man. When I was a little kid, I
Yeah, little kid,
wanted to be
little Jerome.
archaeologist. Yeah,
A what?
archaeologist. I wanted to
I thought you
study.
said an oncologist. I was like, I don't even know what that is now.
What? You know how weird of a child? Like I was a weird kid, and even that's too weird for me.
Oh, that's funny.
So
That's
no,
funny.
archaeologists. I wanted to study dinosaurs, and uh, look at the different periods of how you know the planet moved through
Yeah,
things. Right? I was interested in how dinosaurs became oil because no one really explained that to me.
yeah, yeah. What's a career mistake you're weirdly grateful for, if there is any?
Trying out DevRail. So
Okay.
I Indiana Hardaway, that's funny,
Indiana
Jake.
Hardaway, dude, that is funny as hell.
I have a daughter, I'm gonna call her
That is
that. Like, or
fantastic.
India,
That is
I'll
good.
make her India Hardaway. That'd be cool.
There you go.
But yeah, so when I left CBS for a DevRel position before Microsoft, and I realized quickly that I did not like DevRel
Yeah,
because I like one building things, and two they want to kind of own your brand, and I'm just not a fan of people owning my brand because my brand can't be tied to your brand, like especially if you're not going to pay me. Like I need like money for my brand,
yeah,
especially like in 2020 I was like shit hot. I was getting 2 articles in Business Insider, GitHub Star,
yeah, yeah,
like all this stuff, and I was like, nah, this is not right for me. And plus I don't want to have to toe the company line when it comes to the technologies. Like I feel like the beauty of not being in DevRel, also kind of not being in Microsoft, is you get to go and you get to play with all the technologies and not sell just the tech or that is there, or only be just focusing on the technology that's in the room because there's so much. So like that is like my biggest like, oh, trying out DevRel, finding out, what, I absolutely hate this. Like I like talking about when it comes to tech, I like talking about veterans, and jobs. I don't really like talking about, whatever, like about inner source or some stupid stuff about that.
yeah,
But like that, yeah, that was biggest, like that was a huge mistake. But I'm grateful for it. I tried it, hated it,
yeah. I
learned
love
about
it.
it.
What's if I told you tomorrow that you couldn't do anything in tech and you couldn't do Vetsu code because that's tech, what hobby would you pursue for a
Ooh,
living?
cooking. So
Cooking.
we've been playing. My wife and I have been playing with this new style of like cooking we could since the pandemic called Delta Pacific, where we try to blend flavors and stuff from our hometowns in the South with like flavors of countries we like in Southeast
That's
Asia.
cool.
So
That's cool.
a lot of Sichuan style and Southern style cooking is done in my house.
That's
A
cool.
lot of like I have become a pork belly master. A lot of Vietnamese and Texas style beef cooking, like because with pho is beef based, kind of essentially beef based, so
Yeah.
ramen.
Right.
But then we
Right.
put like Texas style of making brisket and then converting it with how we do the beef and with pho and stuff like that. So that's what I would do. I would become like I'd open a restaurant, call it Delta Pacific, and then
I love that. That's cool. That's really, really cool. Last question. We'll wrap up here. And again, thanks for everybody tuned in. I appreciate the comments have been great. It seems like y'all got a lot of value out of this. I'll drop.
they're like they want a 2-hour one. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like
I will drop I'll drop the link to the article in the LinkedIn post, but I'll also drop it in the Torque community too, so you can check it out. But Jerome, I mean, this show's called Guidance Counselor 2.0 because we had guidance counselors in middle school, high school, and college, but now as adults, we don't really have them. What would be your biggest piece of career advice to young Jerome getting started in his career?
start. That would be
Just
it.
start.
Like just start. You're gonna
Yeah.
mess. I mean, I think people get so overwhelmed with the idea of messing up, right? Is I think so. My background's in like the sport I was in was boxing when I was a kid.
Okay.
And you have to learn that everybody has a plan to get hit in the mouth, right? Mike Tyson made that saying. He made that saying famous, but that was always in the boxing gym. You always know a plan. You got to get hit in the mouth. So start, be adaptable, focus on your skills. Like we had on the wall, we had this. We had this mantra: skills pay the bills. Like no, we drill the skills because skills pay the bills,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And like that was our mantra. You drill the skills because skills pay the bills. Drill the skills because skills pay the bills. And everybody has a plan till they get hit in the mouth, but those skills are going to come and save you. That's why you drill them. Like, and so start, because as long as you're putting in the work, you're going to make mistakes. We're going to learn how to adapt on mistakes. You're going to have to learn how to, take a step back, pivot, go move forward. You're going to learn that, hey, like this ain't going to be a knockout. I'm going to have to, drag it. I'm going to have to drill down on this. I'm going to have to slower. Oh, I have a weakness. Oh, my short game is not my inside fighting game this week, but my long style fighting game is strong, but I can't really work on that right now because I'm in the middle of getting punched in the face. So I need to focus on keeping this person on the outside so I can do my long range fighting game. Like these are the type of things that come up with boxing. That's just life in general, right? Like, so start a thing, ask questions, always ask for feedback. Feedback from the right people. Feedback is a gift. Sometimes feedback isn't a gift, but then you build that trusted advisory of people that you can always ask questions to. Right? Like but first things first, just starting.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, y'all, thank you again for hanging out with us today. We appreciate it. Only episode for Guidance Counselor 2.0 this week. Again, we'll be in Dallas starting tomorrow. So hope to see you at Commit Your Code. Jerome, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. And y'all have a good one. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.